Trump claiming that Haitian migrants are eating the pets, the cats and dogs, off the streets in Springfield, Ohio. The fact-checkers in the debate rejected that claim. But do those fact-checkers live in Springfield, Ohio? Do they work in Springfield, Ohio? Perhaps not. But one LBC listener does. Jamie is live in Springfield, Ohio. Jamie, thanks very much indeed for being there for us. I wonder, as you go around...
pleasure.
Thank you for being there. I wonder, as you go around your business today, whether you have seen any sign of cats or dogs being eaten by people.
No, actually, I teach in a school, and cat and dog were not on the menu for the Haitian students or for my regular students, so that's a big no.
Have you ever come across an incident of a cat or a dog being whisked off the street to presumably be put in a pot by somebody?
Nope, that's not happened either.
Do you have pets?
I do. I have a cat, and if they took her, they'd bring her right back.
Right, fine. So you know the whereabouts of your cat, that they haven't been eaten?
Yes, I do. She's at home running the house while I'm here at school.
When you heard this claim from the former president about the town in which you work, what did you think?
Well, it actually hit us earlier in the day because the post hit social media that this is all based on. And everybody thinks it's someone else's sister's brother's dog's goldfish that posted it. No one knows the person directly who posted it. And we found out earlier in the day that the picture they posted on Twitter or X is actually not a Springfield picture. So I knew it was coming. But last night when he called us out, I was furious because I teach Haitian kids. I teach American kids, but there's some Haitians here, obviously, because we have 15,000 new Haitians in the city of Springfield. And they're coming into all the schools. And I was talking to one of them this morning because she'd heard it, and I explained it to her, and I said, we don't believe this, but there are people who do believe it, and they're spreading the lies. And you could see she was hurt, and she even expressed that she was hurt. And it's just awful because these people are leaving a country where the government is so corrupt. I mean, they assassinated the president, and it's run by gangs now.
Yeah.
And they're leaving cushy lives. Some of my students come from very cushy background, and they're coming here just to find any old job they can so they can support their family. And they are working. I mean, there's always going to be bad actors in 15,000 people, but there are people coming here to have a new life. You can't do a new life in a first world country without working.
So I don't know whether
they're not eating our pets.
No, I don't know whether you have a vote in the election, Jamie.
I do.
But I wonder whether anything from last night changed your mind or further entrenched your view.
Okay, well, I didn't think I'd get to be political, but I made the mistake of voting for Donald the first time when he won, because I told everybody he is going to become presidential, and he didn't. And I've been voting the other side ever since. I mean, my parents are spinning in their graves right now. And seeing Vice President Harris interact with Donald Trump, I was amazed. You know, she's good on her own, but last night she was so sure of herself. She was in control of herself. She did such a good job expressing herself, and I agree with the analyst you had on earlier. She wasn't clear on some of her plans, but to know she has a plan is better than the one I know that's coming. Because as a student of history, I know the path Donald Trump is going down. I visited Munich this summer with students.
Yeah.
I know what happens. So we can't do that. We have to go forward. It's too dangerous. And seeing the two of them interact just nails in the coffin.
So there you are, Jamie, teaching in Springfield, Ohio, about which there's been an awful lot of attention. I presume you're probably teaching now. You're about to go into a lesson or something. Can you just make sure for us, can you just look out at the nearest window and just tell us once again that you cannot see any evidence of what the former president is claiming?
Okay, looking outside, I see no cats and dogs, but it's a school. But we do have a pond in front of us full of geese right now, and they are not afraid.
Colin from Portsmouth is on the line.
Well, what have we here? Two British heavyweight titans meeting for the first time. Colin from Portsmouth and James O'Bleeding Bryan. Listen, I've been forced to listen to your pathetic woke nonsense, and let me tell you this, you make me sick. You are the epitome of the lefty, liberal, goo-pudding, ramekin hoarding, metropolitan elite. sitting in your little ivory chair, speaking over brave, right-leaning callers so they're not allowed to tell the nation why Brexit was such a good idea. Crushing listeners' arguments, using their own logic against them. It's disgusting. You are what is wrong with this country. I bet you don't even care that the National Trust is becoming a Sharia kingdom that forces its poor, unsuspecting customers to have scones without any dairy products in. You might as well take your middle name out, yeah? Replace the O with Ules. James Ules Bryan. Because that is how much of an enemy you are to this country. I bet you're on a secret WhatsApp group with Carol Vorderman and Gary bloody Lineker, aren't you? Plotting with Keir Starmer to get into the House of Lords and make it law to buy your book. Oh, you'd love that, wouldn't you? If we had to pay a licence to watch the BBC and to read your book, you're now the king of radio just because every single caller to your show since 2016 is too frightened to give you one positive of leaving the EU in case they're locked up for free speech. Well, I hope you're happy because you are destroying this once great country from the inside. Anyway, James, I've had a lovely time. Thank you so much for having me on. Love to the family.
Love to the family, Colin. I heard you're on tour at the moment. Are there any tickets still available?
Oh, you'd love that, wouldn't you? If you could come and ruin my tour at Leicester Square Theatre on 2nd of October and elsewhere around the country until October the 12th, I'm not having it. Not having it. But yeah, tickets are available on socomedy.co.uk.
Or, of course, you could just do a search on exploding heads, all one word. Love to the family, Colin.
Do you remember a few months ago I told you I had chickens?
Oh, yes.
Well, one of them's given me a message to give to Nick in Ilford and all the other Kremlin propagandists and apologists that have called in today. And it goes... I'm sick and tired of hearing them. We are in a position now where we have got to make a stand, take the gloves off and give Ukraine everything it needs to finish this job. Stop making them fight with one hand tied behind their back. Every red line that Putin has set down, we've crossed, they've crossed, nothing happens. And if he was going to go nuclear at any point, tactical or otherwise, it would have been with an invasion of his sovereign territory. Guess what? He didn't do it. China won't let him do it, India won't let him do it, and he cannot afford to become a pariah. So for God's sake, the only thing this guy is going to understand is force. Let him get on with it. Give them the power to do it. And then it might wake up the Russian population. They won't feel so safe and secure then. They might end up ousting him. What do you think of that? Propagandists?
Yes, good afternoon, Carol. And apropos your earlier conversation, we talked about the hereditary principle being an anachronism,
yes,
indefensible,
yes,
and we sing this appalling Victorian. It's supposed to be a Victorian 3/4, but it's always sung in a 4/4 funereal dirge. The lyric is so embarrassing.
Just explain 3/4 and 4/4.
Well,
I know how to add them up and I know how to multiply them, Claire, but I'm not a musician.
3/4 should be 3 beats to the bar. 1, 2, 3, but it ends up as 1, 2,
yeah, it's very
3, 4, and it just sits into basically a funereal dirge. The lyric is so embarrassing. God save our gracious King, long live our noble King, God save the King. Yeah. Send him victorious, happy and glorious, long to reign over us, and every single verse ends, God save the King. I'm not going to sing to that family. I'm not going to sing to a family I don't believe should be reigning over us, especially somebody from an African heritage who actually branded Africans and sold them like animals in the African Holocaust. The lyric is an embarrassment. I have no issue whatsoever with that chap not wanting to sing it. I never sing it myself. I think the best national anthem is the South African one, which is wonderful. What's that one? Nkosi Sikelel' iAfrika. I mean, that is wonderful, but we need to have a referendum on this appalling lyric. And if you must stick with the Victorian tune, so be it. I think we can come up with something better. We must sing to the glory of our country, and we must sing. Look what we've achieved in the Paralympics.
Well, the thing is, Claire, Wales sings about the land, whereas sing about our country and how we love our country. Scotland the same, Flower of Scotland, right? It's all about the country. Ireland,
Indeed.
you know, when together standing tall and all of that, when they sing in the Ireland rugby now. Whereas in England, it's about the monarchy.
One family.
Now, you know, some are ringing in, I'm sure, and messaging in, saying, "Oh, we're very pro the monarchy and so on." But I've just read the statistics, and a quarter of people in this country actively would prefer a head of state rather than the monarchy. So for us to ignore all of those, and it's less than 2/3, because there are, you know, in addition to that, there are around about 12% who say, "Well, I'm not really sure. I don't know which one I like." You know, they're sort of ambivalent towards either. So perhaps
Absolutely.
there should be a different...
Did you say it's about 45% that want a republic, something like that? Is it
I was saying in the younger
it?
age range. So this
Right.
is a
in young
recent
people,
poll.
it's very young. But
Yeah.
what I've always said to myself, what good is a head of state who can't speak, who can't defend the people? I mean, the days when they said once more to the breach, dear boys, is gone. Yeah. They can't take us to war. They can't really do anything. And what really infuriated me in the same week, Carol, that they announced they'd be taking the winter warm fuel allowance away from people just over pension credit. They announced that the Windsors are going to get a hike from 82 million a year to 132 million a year, a 50% hike for doing what? And yet people who actually served in the Second World War, who have served as nurses, who have served as carers, who have actually done so much for the country, they can all freeze to death or get hypothermia as long as we've got another 50% hike for one family who don't do anything.